Construction. And here's your hosts, Terry Cannell-Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, Terry.
Happy Saturday, man.
Happy Saturday to you and everybody out there.
That's it. It's all about Home Construction Saturday here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. We really appreciate you guys. And definitely one of those Saturdays where it's spring's kind of coming early. Maybe it's like maybe this is like a pretend spring. What do you think?
So
it's sunny. It's going to be like 45, 50 degrees this weekend.
Well, you live in the mountains, Terry.
I know. Well, I like the snow. What I don't like is the cold and the wind and the scraping my windshield in the mornings because I'm lazy. So
that's the reason they have a switch when you turn it on. It heats itself up.
But it takes too long. So you know how, like, with technology, this is my gripe with technology, right? I mean, we've got all sorts of technology now. And you can clean out your back windshield. You press the little defrost button, and it clears it out a lot better than blowing wind on it. Surely they can make something similar to the back window in the front one. Now, I know you got to see through it, but technology today, surely they can start to do something.
Well, if that was the case, all these electric cars would have solar panels on them.
Well, I mean, don't get me started on the electric cars with the winter. So, and you know, I mean, I'll take an electric car. I'm not opposed to them, but they've the last 2 or 3 weeks it's been in the news. They've not got a good rep here lately.
Well, I didn't know that they had to keep their batteries to a certain temperature.
Well, it makes sense, though.
And then if you run your car all the way down,
yeah,
then you don't have the energy to do it.
But you think about it. I mean, being a construction guy, how many times have you had a drill or something and noticed the battery difference in the summer and the winter?
Well, we deal with that. And, you know, if you read the instructions on your battery-powered drill, it says put hand warmers in your cooler and put your charger in the cooler to charge your batteries. In the summertime, make sure they're in the shade, not out in the sun.
It's the same, I guess that would be physics apply. So anyway, all about home construction here on WATA. And again, we think of all of our listeners out there. We appreciate you all, and reach out to the Facebook page. You know, we always like to hear from you, and all those on the podcast as well. And reached out, got some new listeners this week, and we appreciate that a lot. And again, you know, just let us know what you think. Let us know your questions. So,
well, to give you an idea, the first electric car was built in 1846.
See, I've always found that interesting. I mean, essentially, the electric car was one of the first types of cars. But again, it goes back to what, you know, not just affordability, you know, but like how do you make it economical, right? And battery powers. It makes sense. We're just now getting to the point where we can have batteries that are sufficient, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
So, because how many times, you know, growing up, how many times did you have put AA batteries into a Walkman, right? And the batteries run dead in what feels like no time. So battery life today is a lot different. I mean, it's the technology. We finally grow them, but I don't know. Waiting for we just need the super battery. That's where we're at. Lithium's all right. It's doing okay, but it's not cheap, and it's not the best, really. So
but it's moving in that direction.
Well, that's technology, right?
Yep.
So that's what we like. We like technology, man. So, you know, I've read into a couple different construction folks this week, different contractors and stuff, and it seems that lots of people say the same thing, that things are busy here in the high country. And I know that you've said that in the past. So is that trend continuing, you think?
Yeah. The worst thing is everybody wants it still now. You know, we do have people out there that are being patient with us.
Right.
And so we know that we already got work out to June and July. And we just can't take care of everybody. You know, and that was an argument I had a guy with Charlotte and, you know, jumping up and down and screaming and hollering and going, well, y'all can do this now. I said, no, we can't.
Yeah.
Well, why not? I said, how many people live in Charlotte?
Right.
How many people in the construction industry in Charlotte compared to
Right.
Watauga County,
Right.
Avery County, Ashe County? And so that's the thing. The volume of people to volume of workers is proportionate to the size of the community.
Well, and resources, I think, is another one. Now, we're not seeing the I don't want to say lack of, but the demand. You know, the supply. The demand was overweighing the supply as we come into and out of COVID. Right? Do you see that part is starting to even back out? I mean, are you waiting for materials like you were a couple years ago?
No, we're not. And we're readily available to get what we need.
Okay.
Every now and then there might be a little hiccup still in the appliance industry because shipping
Right.
and stuff like that, which we could turn around on shipping and be hurt again because all this stuff going in the Middle East.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, we've got a lot going on worldwide that would affect that for sure. The stuff that's happening even in China. The kind of the chess game going on there.
Well,
China.
think about it. The Suez Canal was built to cut down on mileage,
Right.
And also to keep ships from being lost going around
Yep.
the Cape.
Yep.
And because of the rough seas.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, has it been 3 years now where the ship got stuck in the canal?
Yeah, I'd say so.
In that alone, I mean, you think about that one ship. Look at the damage, the repercussions, right? Like, look how long that trickled down, and the bottleneck that caused.
Well, think about the wind that blew that ship over.
Yeah, that's true too.
And who was asleep at the helm when it happened? So
yeah, there's a lot of issues with that, but still, like from a consumer side of things, like that, it's hard to think one ship did that, right? And we can, I mean, we think about it today on the side of the road. How many times have you seen, a truck broke down on the side of the road? It doesn't cause the same effect as that boat, but at the same time, there is that trickle down effect, right? There's a pile up on the interstate, and looking, and that's sometimes a whole day lost for a truck driver.
And what people don't understand, time is money.
Right. Yep.
And my time costs money.
Sure.
Or that's money out of my pocket.
Well, that's it, right? And again, we tend to overlook that when for small self-employed people. I think I think when we think of large corporations and box stores, right? Like we know that these, the kid's getting paid by the hour to work at the box store, and we know that, right? But I think sometimes we don't apply that same understanding to people that's like you. They get paid not by the hour, but by the job, right? And I think sometimes we forget, and we just assume that if you're doing a service job and you're not getting paid by the hour, you're getting paid by the outcome of the product, then we tend to not, as consumers, we tend to not care about the hours that go into that product.
Correct.
We just care about the product.
That's right. And research and development.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. That's a weird tangent I got on, but anyway.
Was that a rabbit hole?
Not me. I never go down rabbit holes. You know that.
Well, I got to, thank Caldwell Community College, because they do have a plumbing class.
Yeah.
And they do have a heating and air class. Okay, so now high school kids.
They're coming out, right?
Coming out and going to these. And, that's the biggest problem is, when, I hate to say this, but when No Child Left Behind,
right?
They wanted to phase out vocational class. I think Surrey County was the first county in the state to phase out vocational.
Well, that's it. And there was such a push for so long of higher education, and and again, don't get me wrong, we live in a college town. I've went to college. I've got a bachelor's degree. I've got more credit hours than most people with masters. I love college. Don't get me wrong. I love learning, obviously, but it's not for everyone. And that college, you can still be successful. You can still have a high-paying job, sometimes more than you get paid more by going the vocational route. I mean, there's there's electricians and plumbers out there that's making more than I am as a teacher, and and you don't have the overhead of debt, and your training is different, right? I mean, the colleges for 4-year programs are, in theory, would be to set you up and train you to do, in my case, teach, but it's hands on when you're talking about vocational because there's so much to do, but you can go into the vocational schools and again come out and you've got certifications that, I mean, look at welding. You can make a ton of money if you're good at welding.
Yeah. The sky's the limit.
Yep. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely one of those, like, I don't know. I'm glad to see the pendulum swing back over, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Where we're finally pushing vocationals and making that an option. It's not we again, athletics and stuff, like we see all these kids that get signed into colleges and stuff to play athletics, and I think it's great, but we don't give that same thought and that same praise to the kid who just landed an apprenticeship,
correct,
at so-and-so place. And I think we should. So I don't know. That's just me.
Okay.
That's just me. Anyway.
But you're correct on that.
But anyway.
They're professionals, and people don't realize they're professionals.
Right. And it's, it used to be a blue-collar, white-collar thing, and I think we've sort of forgotten about that there's I don't want to say a division in status, but they're both equal. We can't have one without the other.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, all right, let's take a break. I'll get off the rabbit hole, and we'll get into the topic. How about that? Thanks for listening to us. All about home construction. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies, such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. So, Randy, we talked so much about, it wasn't too long ago that we talked about the different types of roofing and stuff. And one of the things that we just sort of take for granted when it comes to roofing is the underlayment.
Yep.
Code tells us that we have to have something, right?
Correct. Or manufacturer specifications, and metal roofing. You all know
right.
that I sell metal roofing, and most metal roofing companies never talked about a vapor barrier,
mm-hmm.
and you can put the metal on lathing. Okay.
Right.
Well, the only problem with that is you get condensation. All right, and so I sent a couple pictures, I guess, in 2008. To Raleigh,
right,
of houses with water spots. I even took a picture of a roof that somebody put on with the house not being finished yet, and it was dripping water.
I remember you talking about this, where it was basically raining inside.
Yeah, and so I sent the pictures to them, and I said, hey, guys, something's got to be done about this because, when metal roofing really came out,
mm-hmm.
we were averaging 15 to 20 calls in the wintertime
right.
because of the roof leaking. There was nothing wrong with the roof being leaked or with the roof installation by the companies that put them on. There was no, they put them on lathing. Mm-hmm. They didn't put any felt. The houses were cathedral ceilings with can lights.
So their heat, yeah.
And so as the heat went up, under the code, you had to keep the insulation 2 inches away from the can light itself.
Yep.
So code deems that as a chimney
mm-hmm.
because with an incandescent bulb, the heat rises and goes out. So as it goes up, it hits the metal roofing and it causes it to condensate.
Yeah.
And that's what.
Now, you're the one who showed me the picture that time that had the guttering system in the attic.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Wasn't it, to stop a leak?
Stop it all was So I mean, I get it, but I think, I mean, the general practice is to put some kind of underlayment under, whether it's we're talking about asphalt shingles, we're talking about metal, like whatever we're talking about, even cedar shakes, right? You're putting you should be putting an underlayment underneath.
Well, cedar shake generally, as a rule of thumb, back in the old days, had 30 weight felt under the shakes, and then we used to cut it in half and put it between the shakes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's actually double. But for years we installed it all wrong. Mm-hmm. We pulled it down too low. Okay.
Oh. Yep.
And then I think around 2006, 7, maybe 5, we had a gentleman from Canada fly in from British Columbia just to come and give us a presentation on cedar shakes, how to install them.
That's cool.
See, North Carolina requires you can either have lathing, under metal roof, but you can't have lathing under cedar shakes.
Yeah.
And cedar shakes will last 50 years on lathing, where the maximum lifespan of it, if it's installed correctly, it's going to be about 20 years.
Because it's collecting that moisture.
Yeah, and it starts to rot.
And that's when you see the moss growing on it, and the color change, and all that stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that will start, believe it or not, in about the 8th year.
Okay.
Building up on the end of it and stuff. We've even run tests with zinc strips. Copper works the best because copper will keep it clean.
Keep it right. Now, when we think of roofing underlayments, generally, I think that most people think of the black stuff, right? The tar paper or felt paper.
Roof and felt.
I mean, I call it felt paper, but I've heard it being called tar paper. That seems to be sort of that the tried and true thing, I guess you'd say. I mean, that's been around for a long time.
It's been around longer than I have.
Yeah.
And it came in 15-pound, and it came in 30-pound. And
the stuff itself is I mean, there's a reason why we still use it, right? Like it works. It does a great job, and we even can use it under flooring, under hardwood flooring, right?
But the only problem with it was under hardwood flooring, if you put it down and it was the heavy asphalted, then you leave tracks somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. But that worked great for the roof, because the felt would glue to the substrate.
And so now it's not slipping as much.
And the shingles would glue to it.
I got you.
But when they took the asphalt out of it, I mean, it still has asphalt in it, but it does not have the amount of asphalt that it did 30 years ago. Okay?
Yeah.
And so for some odd reason, I don't know why they took the asphalt out, but when they took it out, it lost its elasticity. Okay? Because I remember putting felt on the roof, and the roof would look great, come back the next day, and it'd be gone.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it too, and I noticed this with like the 30 weight versus the 15 weight, and essentially the weight is just, it sounds like, just as the numbers do, 15 and 30, it's twice the thickness, but I know, to me, there's not a lot of benefit in the 30, and I'll ask you that question in just a minute, but I have noticed when you take the 30 and you bend a corner or something, it snaps. It almost cracks open.
It don't hold up.
Yeah, and so but I have noticed that in the difference in those two things. But essentially the asphalt underlayments, whatever you want to call it, felt paper, tar paper, it's water resistant, but it's not waterproof.
No, it's not. Not completely waterproof. And the reason for that is because now, where they've taken the asphalt out, it don't glue itself together.
Right.
Okay? It's just like the old 90-weight roof and felt, all right? If you go back and look at the tag on it, it tells you exactly how to apply it, and you have to apply it with roofing tar, lay it down, then bring the next roll down 18 inches, tar it again, and lay it out like that. Nobody ever did that. But I've seen a lot of people that double rolled it.
Well, and that's what's recommended, right? With generally, I mean, a broad paint brush, again, check your manufacturing specifications. But usually the 15 pound, the 15 weight, you're going to take 2 rolls. You're going to do like a double, or you're going to use 30 weight underneath.
Well, you still had to put one layer on 15 weight because it held up. I mean, you could leave it on for several days and not have any trouble with it. You know, back in the 80s, we didn't have button cap nails. We used a product called Jip nails, which was a 1-inch steel nail washer. And I used to hate Jip nails because that's always sticking your fingers and stuff. And we used a lot of blackboard on houses too, so we put it on with Jip nails.
Right. Okay.
And but then, you know, UV rays is real hard on it. And then the evolution of felt is synthetic started coming out.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot more. There was a switch, like you said. You're pulling out asphalt. You're even the felt paper. You're starting to get more like natural fibers, some cellulose, it's like fiberglass mixed in. Yep. I mean, it's not just paper, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It's a synthetic product.
One of the, I guess one of the biggest pros for it. It's been around for a while. It works, but it's relatively it's the cheaper option, right? It's the budget friendly option.
The asphalt,
the felt paper.
As long as you can put it down and roof over it that day. Okay. And because with the less asphalt in it, it blows away if the wind comes. It just doesn't
right. But you're really going to just put this in a flat roof. I mean, on a sloped roof, you're not going to put this in the flatter you go, the less you want to use.
You can't go under 3 degree pitch with it.
Okay. That's what I thought. But again, it goes back to it's not waterproof, it's water resistant.
Yep.
So the flatter the roof is, you're not going to be able to use that.
Now, they use 30 weight felt on flat roofs, but they use a 3-ply or they use a 5-ply, and it's all hot mopped, and it's changed directions each layer.
Oh, okay, yeah, like you're crossing it over.
Yeah,
and that's what you would do if you were, so like say you're pulling the shingles up, you're gonna typically, if there's any left, like you pull up the underlayment too, though, right? I guess
a lot of times,
I've seen both. That's why I'm asking.
Well, back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of that old asphalt felt did not come back up. It stayed to the substrate. And so we just refelled it over.
But when you refelted, would you go vertical? Would you go the opposite direction?
No.
Okay.
Because of the pitch of the roof.
Okay.
And we'll get in that in the next one.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. I mean, I've seen it go over, but I wasn't sure, but that makes sense, right? The older stuff, the asphalt's going to essentially glue itself to the to the plywood or whatever. Okay.
But the new stuff won't. When you take it off,
right.
The new 15 or 30 weight felt, when you pull a shingle off, it'll come off with a shingle.
When you unroll a roll of it, you can kind of see 2 sticky strips. I don't know how to, like 2 glue.
It's not really. Yeah. It's got nail lines on it.
Yeah.
But it used to be. It got so bad that you could take 3 button caps and put it in a corner, and stretch it and it'd tear it.
Right.
Even 30 weight. And then, like I said, the evolution of the synthetic started coming out. The first synthetic we ever used was in 2001.
Yep. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about the synthetic. So synthetic underlayment is, again, it's sort of that newer technology. And it's basically what you would expect. It's like polypropylene, polyethylene. It's plastics.
It is, but it's pliable plastic.
Right. More rubberized, plasticky.
And it came from a company in British Columbia, and the reason they invented it is they made the product that wraps the lumber coming out of Canada into the United States, or wherever they shipped it all over the world, and it was to protect it from the elements.
Right.
All right. The only problem is, if you've ever pulled that wrapping paper off lumber, it's thick. Mm-hmm. You can't tear it.
Right.
And but it didn't glue to a nail.
That's cool.
Okay? Where the synthetics are made, when you put a nail through it, now it adhered to the nail.
Nice. Well, that's the thing with the thermoplastics, right? Like it's waterproof, and it's, again, instead of water resistance, now we're talking about waterproof. We're talking about being flexible. Mold's not going to grow to it as much, and again, like you said, it's strong.
And most of your synthetics have a 25-year warranty as long as they're put underneath their roofing material in a reasonable amount of time.
Gotcha.
Titanium had a UV warranty of 6 months without having any sheeting on it or any shingles on it. We actually did a house down in Caldwell County where, believe it or not, we had to send the titanium on it for a year and never had any problem.
Well, again, one of the issues that we talked about with the roofing felt was it breaks down under UV, but it doesn't hold up under high temperatures the same way that these synthetics do.
No, and you take off up a 612 pitch roof with the regular felt, and it'll tear on you. When I tested the titanium in 2001, I walked up a 1212 pitch and walked back down. I walked on it. That's how sticky it was.
Right.
And but the only problem I had with the formula at that time was it was too rubberized, so it actually stretched when you walked on it.
Okay.
But there again, if you look at synthetic felts, they show you where to put your nails at. All right.
They've printed it like a grid essentially.
Yeah. So if you do not put your nails where they tell you to put their nails, there is no warranty on the synthetic felt.
Now, is that nailing pattern supposed to match up with the roof a certain way, or is that just really the nailing pattern that they want for their product?
That's what they want for their product to meet the wind resistance that you need.
Okay. So as far as the underlayment part goes, they don't care what's underneath the surface. Right. Okay.
And when they started making us put roofing felt on lathing, we used the synthetics 4 foot wide. But the first time we did it, we couldn't get it to lay flat because of the lathing.
Yes.
And then the codes changed in 2012. Then you went from horizontal to you could lay it on vertical.
Okay.
All right. So there, if you laid it on vertical, you nail one top corner, you nail the bottom corner, and you stretch the other corners, nail it. And that's all you'd have to have in it to put a metal roof on is 4 button caps. That's how strong it was.
Wow, that's cool.
And but code also said that you had to have so many inch overlap. Okay.
Okay.
So if you use let's take the titanium. It has a blue line on it. If you match blue line to blue line, you got an 8-inch lap.
Yep. Okay.
And then you nail it on each lathing, then you were fine. We never had one leak like that. And so over the time, we run all the felt vertical, even under shingles.
And you don't worry about water?
Not at all.
What? Okay. Because that would be my concern. Water, I mean, I know you're overlapping, but
you're nailing it. Still, you have to nail it to the nail pattern so it won't pick up and rise to allow water to get under it.
Gotcha,
so see, basically,
gotcha.
Either way you go with wind blows, the way they got their nail pattern, the water's going to hit a nail, and it's either going to go down at an angle or travel straight across and not go up any farther.
That's fair. All right. I'm with you. All right. Well, we're going to get back into this right after these messages. Thanks for listening to us. We'll see you in a minute. Obviously, by listening to this podcast, you see the value of All About Home Construction. Well, by joining our listener supporter community, you're not just tuning in, you're standing with us as we are able to support and fuel our passions of the construction industry. As a listener supporter, you'll enjoy exclusive perks, including hearing your name, or maybe even your business name, on our show. So please go to our Spotify website. The link will be in the show notes, and join. You can join for as little as $1 one-time fee, $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you think you can afford. Every single penny helps to keep this show going as we can continue to grow and do lots more things. Thanks a lot. And again, more importantly, thank you for listening to this. That's right. All about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks for listening to us here, both on the podcast and on the radio on Saturday mornings. We appreciate you all just the same. So thank you very much. And talking a little bit about underlayment. So, Randy, I want to talk about some, like, why it's important to put underlayment on. But first, again, when it comes to the synthetics, the pros, it's waterproof, it's lightweight, it lasts a while, but it's also resistant to stuff like fungus and heat and UV rays.
Correct.
And I think that's one of the important things. Now, a manufactured product like that, instead of the old tried and true felt products, are probably going to cost a little more for the actual product per square foot, right?
Well, it's last time I priced titanium is $161 a roll.
Oh,
but there's 10 square to it versus 4 square out of 15 weight felt.
What's 15 weight felt running now?
Let's look it up.
I hadn't bought any in the last couple of years.
Well, the only
I got away from 15 weight felt in wood flooring because I could get some synthetics. I don't want to go on a wood flooring tangent versus underlayments, but when we're talking about underlayments, like there's some synthetic wood flooring underlayments that were running about the same price as felt. And what I liked about the underlayments, and that this is more interior but I would imagine this is it would work on the roof too, is I hated scuffing things up because you got the roll of tar paper, the felt paper, and it, especially in a house, like you stand it up and you knock it down, and what does it do? It hits the wall. Now you got a big black spot in the wall.
Yep.
And that's the reason I personally like synthetics better for flooring. But I would imagine that to work with, it's probably a lot easier. Using that experience, I'm going to say it's probably easier to work with synthetics than it is the felt paper, even on the roof, which would offset, right? I mean, that's going to offset the overall cost. I mean, I know the product's going to cost more than felt, but when you're talking about installing and using the product, the labor's got to help offset the cost.
Well, it does, but think about this. Have you ever walked on the roof and walked on felt and it slip on you?
Yeah.
Well, you won't get that with synthetics. So the life you save
So
might be your own.
That's true, too.
32 weight felt's $32.98 a roll.
Okay.
And it's 200. That's 2 square.
Yeah.
Okay. And but then you get down to GAF has a synthetic roof underlayment all the way down to $98.98. Okay.
Okay.
So it's 3 times the cost, but it's 10 square. Okay?
So instead of 2 to 4 square, you're getting 10 square.
Correct. And then it goes all the way up to $160 some dollars a roll.
So really, I mean, let's say you get 3 rolls at $30, and you're going to get close to 100 square. It's really not a lot of price difference then.
No. And the thing about it is it goes down faster.
Per foot.
And it holds better.
Okay.
But then, most homeowners don't realize about how codes have changed over the years, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when we price a roof out, now we use ice and water shield around all roof edges, okay?
How
many of you homeowners out there don't believe in a drip edge on your house?
Right.
And, okay, drip edge is a code item.
Mm-hmm.
It's plainly called out in the code book. Ice and water is called out in the code book. And the ice and water replaces now, because it glues down to the roof, replaces the valley metal that you have.
Gotcha.
Okay? So we use that around all roof penetrations. And what I mean like that, fireplaces, where soil stack pipes come through and everything.
Right.
Try to eliminate any water that can ever get in the house. Okay? But a lot of people don't understand that. And another thing, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of roofs where the roofer goes on and he cuts his shingles flush with his drip edge.
Right.
Okay. Now, if he doesn't put the right underlayment under, when it rains, it leaks under the shingle, under the drip edge, and goes down on your facial board.
Yep.
And your soffit. Okay. And that's where I get back to the issues of people not reading the instructions on their shingles.
Right.
Because it plainly calls out ice and water, roof and felt. Mm-hmm. They don't care what kind of roof and felt you use.
Right, but they're going
to. But the code plainly calls out starter shingles all the way around your roof. That means all eaves, everything. Oh. And the reason for that is because of high wind.
To get the wind down, okay.
So, over the years, very few roofing claims have insurances paid.
Yeah, because they're not.
Because first thing they'll do is they'll go to the edge of the roof, and they'll raise that shingle up, and they'll look for drip edge. They'll look for ice and water. Right. They'll look how the felt is laid. They'll even look at how the shingle's nailed.
Right. So that's really one of the biggest benefit then of underlayment, using underlayment, is it deals with water and weather, right?
Correct.
Ice, water, moisture, and the issues that come with those things. Would you say, though, that, like, underlayment, I mean, it's not going to hurt your energy efficiency, right? It's got to help your energy efficiency, just like a house wrap does. Like you're creating that thermal break.
Well,
would that help create somewhat of a thermal break in the roof?
Somewhat, yes, it does. But there again, if you have you have to have soffit vents.
Yeah.
You have to have ridge vent. Okay, so. Even though let's take that ice and water. That's an asphalt rubber adhesive.
Right.
All right. Now that holds heat. Okay.
Right.
But if you have the right 1.5-inch air barrier in your rafters above your insulation, now the air is going to travel, take the heat out, so it's not going to transfer to your house.
Okay. I've always thought, and this is another rabbit hole, I've always thought it'd be cool to have some kind of product that would change summer and winter. Easily, like summer pull the heat in, and then the winter, the other way around. Summer pull the heat in, and then the winter, let it bounce back out.
Well,
I know that's my sci-fi.
There is a product out there that does that.
What?
Metal. Because in the wintertime, even when we have
it's
snow,
metal
will clear the snow off faster because it warms up faster, and will heat your attic better than shingles will.
Okay, I guess you're right.
And in the summertime, because of the reflective properties and the energy efficient of the metal, it sheds heat faster.
Right.
Which is supposed to keep your attic cool.
I just think if you could have something that would roll out, like let's say you have an overlayment that wouldn't trap moisture, but that would block the heat in the summertime, and then you unroll it, and in the summer, and you roll it back up in the winter.
Well, you know what the homeowners say, don't you? Forget that.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there goes my $1 million idea. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to keep working at the radio station. All right.
But
so
the most energy efficient homes,
yeah,
built are perimeter insulation homes,
mm-hmm.
and what I mean by that is the walls foamed.
The
rafters are foam solid,
mm-hmm.
okay? There is no attic ventilation in it whatsoever, and it carries all the way from bottom plate on one wall all the way to bottom plate on the other wall.
Right. There you go. All right. We're going to talk more about underlayment here in just a moment. We'll come right back right after these messages. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies, such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755 3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right, all about home construction here on WATA. Thanks for listening to us. Talking about underlayment on your roofing underlayment. And, again, there's two major types, the synthetic, the felt. For the most part, most synthetics you're gonna install the same way as felt, right?
Yep.
Now, but
regular roofing felt you cannot install vertically.
Right. Okay.
It's still got to be done horizontal.
Okay. But they have some synthetics that are much like the waterproofing that you would put on a foundation, where you kind of self-adheres to it.
Well, that's a mirror dry.
Okay.
Okay, mirror dries. Well, the difference between weather shield, ice, and water is it's made to absorb the heat that a shingle or a metal roof puts out and not lose its adhesion to the substrate.
Gotcha.
Okay. Mirror dry is a product. It's thicker, but it will glue to block. All right?
Right.
It will. Now, if you use a primer, it'll glue to ICFs.
Okay.
All right? And that's a type of waterproofing. And that's what we used on the ICF foundation when I built my addition.
Right.
The only difference is I did a two-pronged deal with it. All right? Because what I did is I glued it to my ICFs. Mm-hmm. I glued it to my house band. And then I turned around and laid it over on my plywood.
Right.
So it became the seal for the bottom of my wall.
Now, but when it comes to roofing underlayment, is there the same kind of thought where you can go over and off the edge of the roof and underneath, wrap it essentially?
No, it'd be pretty hard with your plywood and stuff.
Okay.
But now, roofing felt, asphalt, 15 or 30 weight, has the same ASTM standards as Tyvek and House Wrap does.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
So you can use those where you can't use weather shield.
Does that mean you can use felt as a moisture barrier on the walls?
Yep, sure can. And when we do log cabins, log siding, we don't use house wrap, we use felt.
Why?
Because it doesn't allow any air penetration to get through the house.
Okay.
We started doing that, I guess, 2004.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Tyvek's a good product. Typar's a good product.
Right.
The good thing about it is, they're 9-foot rolls, so you can cover a whole roll and a whole wall in just a little bit. Yeah. As long as a lot of times it takes longer to put your scaffold up than it does to put the house wrap on.
Right.
But, I have to laugh because we all know what house wrap looks like.
Sure.
And we all know that the letters always has to be out.
Yeah, because that they put the printing on not just for advertising; they put it on so that one lets water in, one lets water out. Right?
That's right. And I've actually seen Tyvek put on backwards. So now you're letting the water go through and go into your plywood.
So that's Tyvek. Let's see. That's
I couldn't.
Okay. All right, the last one, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we're running out of time, but one, and this is more synthetic, but one of the other kind of, if the quasi-third type would be the rubberized asphalt underlayment.
That's the ice and water.
Okay.
And that's what you want to run around your eaves, and you want to run around your chimney.
So you would use that in combination with,
correct.
You wouldn't really do a rubberized underlayment on the entire thing.
No, but I have seen contractors that do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. And most of the time we see, ice and water shield used on a whole total roof.
Now that's the stuff that, again, like you're gonna peel it away and stick it down, right? It's
correct.
Just gonna, and if you don't get it stuck level, it's gonna leave you bumps, and it's just it's not easy to work with, I guess.
Well, it's not one sheet of plastic behind it.
Okay.
It's two sheets, and it's cut in half, so you can tack one corner
and then
pull it out. And then,
okay.
And it works pretty good, but
okay.
That's due to the amount of time that on these larger homes that you're going to be uncovered for a long time.
So is that the same as these like zip systems, or is that just a brand name?
No, zip system is a type of plywood that has a 6-month warranty, UV rating on the asphalt. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't remember, but it's almost like a thin rubberized
Right.
membrane on it.
Okay. So it's just a variation of some kind of synthetic.
That's right.
Okay.
But you have to tape it now.
Okay.
And if you don't stretch the tape and use the roller, then it will leak.
Okay.
Because I can't remember. We built Will's house in 2010, and we put it on the roof. And we didn't want to pay $35 for the roller.
Right.
So, yes, we did get a few leaks, so we had to go up there with a propane torch and
Melt it.
reactivate the adhesive in it, and then we rolled it down. How about that? Because
So,
we didn't follow manufacturer specifications.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, in the last few minutes here, I guess my question is, if I'm looking at, redoing my roof or installing a new roof, what, how do you help people decide between felt or synthetics?
We don't give them an option.
Okay.
And all of our roof estimates has drip edge, ice and water shield around all the eaves, starter shingles, because I'm a licensed entity. You cannot deviate from what manufacturer code says.
Okay.
And you know why? Because if you do, and you have a roof leak, and you have a raft of plywood.
No, it's coming back to Randy's problem.
That's right. Then liability insurance will not cover you because you did not follow manufacturer specifications.
Good to know. Good to know.
So for all you contractors out there that have liability insurance, no matter what you do, if you don't follow manufacturer state codes, it's not worth the paper that you sign.
That's it. All right. It's good stuff.
It only took me 10 years to get a liability insurance class over here at the Home Builders. And that's what we took away from it.
There you go. So, well, good stuff. Good stuff. Again, it's one of those things that we look at, that we see all the time when driving down the road, and we don't know enough about it, I think, sometimes. So it's been fun. Underlayments. Who would have thought we could spend an hour talking about underlayments? Probably keep going.
We probably could milk another 15 minutes if we had it.
Well, I'm curious about flat roofs, too, but that's a whole nother commercial project question for another day. So, all about home construction. Again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Thanks to our podcast listeners. Thanks to our radio listeners. Randy, I guess spring's not here. It's still February, but go out and enjoy a pretend spring weekend, all right?
Oh, yes.
All right, man. We'll talk to you guys next time. Take it easy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All About Home Construction. We air every week on Saturday mornings on WATA in Boone. Please like this podcast, comment, share it. Hey, let everybody know where you found it. Thanks for listening.